Hi guys, welcome to Vignan IAS Academy. So this is your session on how to read a newspaper. So we have already uploaded the orientation session video on the website where we have given the credentials for you. And this session will be about how to read a newspaper, and particularly with respect to Hindu newspaper, because 90% of the students follow Hindu newspaper. And the intention of doing this session, especially on how to read newspaper, is to reduce your time of reading a newspaper and to read in a right manner, that to keeping in mind the syllabus of the exam and the prerequisites for exam. So one should not read newspaper as if you read regularly. You should read the newspaper so that your intention should be like to extract maximum points and to make it as useful for your exam, instead of just acquiring mere knowledge. Okay, so I'll be dealing with the Hindu paper today, and we will be dealing with economic times or live mint once the session is done on the next day. All right, so I hope you are able to see my screen, and this is the Hindu dated June 20th 2020. And okay, June 20th 2020. And deliberately I took the Bangalore edition because most of you guys will be from Bangalore, if I'm not wrong, so you'll be having access, even the physical access, to that newspaper. And I'll tell you exactly how to read a newspaper. Okay, I'll tell you each and every section, what to skip in a newspaper and what to take from the entire newspaper. All right, so while reading any newspaper, you should keep three things in mind. First thing is that you should know exactly, by seeing the heading itself, what are the topics that you should skip, so that your time will be saved instead of reading that. And as you know, in syllabus there are various components like history, geography, economy, and polity. So whenever you read newspaper, you have to see to yourself that if you get any kind of syllabus oriented points from the newspapers on that particular syllabus. And I'll tell you, I'll divide the newspaper into four aspects. One which is merely political issues, where you can straight away strike off that. And second thing is about prelims oriented facts, where you have to cleverly pick out the facts from the news items. And third, you have to keep an eye on various summits taking place both at national and international levels. And apart from that, economy terms, all right, and any international organization, whether the meeting is taking place and what is the importance of that. So these are the various important issues. And apart from the prelims oriented perspective, for mains you have to see, you have to take an issue, read all the points given by the concerned personality, whether in editorials paper or whether in editorial editor's note and all. Okay, so after that you can just add your own perspectives to that and save the news and save that particular item from the newspaper. Okay, I'll start with the June 20th newspaper. Okay, so first, normally here today there is some ad, but in the remaining days there will be some important articles in the main front headline. Okay, apart from that, now moving on each item one by one. See towards the left side, I hope you are able to see this editor's note. There is some column as editor's note, and it is not at all useful for your for our preparation, so just skip it. Now coming to next important heading, no outsiders on Indian territory, PM. So whenever some important personality like the honorable prime minister of India or the president of India, or take for example the finance minister, if they are giving some kind of paper statement, definitely there will be some utmost importance attached to that. So while reading an article, you should be smart enough to pick out that particular item. Suppose here the prime minister was speaking about the recent conflict between India and China on the border issues. So while seeing that kind of news items, you should be smart enough to pick out the important places, or if there is any declaration on that, then you should go for that, or they are mentioning about any background of that, that has any meeting has taken place in the previous years. So whatever items they have discussed, you should keep an eye on that. Now, after you go through this entire articles, I'll tell you the process of how to read an article. First thing, look out the main heading. No border post in Ladakh was occupied. So Modi is telling this, and here the important point is like whatever the confrontation going on between India and China, it's going on in the borders and with specific reference to Ladakh. Why? Because Ladakh is important place over there. The next to line of actual control, Ladakh is the biggest place. Recently, even it was very much in news because it was made a union territory. So what is the concern for Ladakh in this? So whenever suppose here they have mentioned about Ladakh, immediately go to physical geography map of India or political geography map of India and see exactly where Ladakh is, and see what are the borders between India and China. Suppose now this article is with respect to India and China, right? So just know, take out the map, political map, and look out the borders for India and China. How many states share border with China? That's first aspect what you should see in the map. After that, about the place mentioned, exactly see where Ladakh is, whether it is in borders, whether it lies between the west of line of actual control or the east of line of actual control. Since the terms like Ladakh, Galwan Valley, these are the terms which would have mentioned about 50 to 100 times in everyday's newspaper. So you should have thorough understanding of that. And for that example, take Ladakh. See, this is a news item about Ladakh. So immediately take out the map and see exactly the location of Ladakh. After that, when you go through the article one by one, almost all the terms over here, they will be explaining about some issues happened. See, recently 20 Indian soldiers were killed because of the standoff between India and Chinese armies. Okay, and apart from that, you should be clever enough to pick out. Since this is being mentioned about one important place, you should pick out the words like any rivers mentioned or any place mentioned. And among this full article, they told like tackling the situation at the East Ladakh borders set status quo. So whatever the confrontation is going on, that is going on in East Ladakh, not West Ladakh. So UPSC forms these options very trickily. Suppose if they have to give a question on this recent confrontation between Indian and Chinese army, they will tell that Galwan Valley lies to east of Ladakh, and one more option they'll tell like Ganwal Valley lies to west of Ladakh. So those type of pretty small facts are the ones which they'll twist that. So whenever you read any news item, see exactly the location of that. So this is the important term, East Ladakh. Now rest of the all articles, rest of the all lines mentioned over here are like normal political stuff. What they're talking like what has happened in the previous 1 to 2 weeks, and what are the measures taken by government. And one more important term over here is, so always whenever you read newspaper, look out for the keywords, where the entire article will be revolving around only those 2 to 3 keywords. Now the keyword over is line of actual control. This is very much important. In the past 20 days, you would have seen this statement or this word 100 or 1,000 times at least. So exactly after reading this, just Google it. What is line of actual control? There is difference between LOC and LAC. Line of actual control is the border between India and China, and line of control is the border between India and Pakistan. So you have to know the difference. So whenever you read newspaper, this entire article will be revolving around only Galwan Valley, Ladakh, line of actual control and all. So whenever you read an article, see to yourself that what are the keywords or what are the key aspects around which the entire article will be revolving. So in this case, it is line of actual control. So just Google what is line of actual control and see along the line of actual control, what are the Indian states that share border over there, or what are the rivers in India that pass through line of actual control. So these are the aspects one should look out for. Rest of the all article like national interest is our higher priority, these are like general statements and which are not with specific reference to your prelims or mains. So just neglect that. See this entire article, instead of marking up directly in this way, look out for important places mentioned over there, or look out for the keywords where entire article is revolving around, and know something about that keyword. Just Google it, so that whenever you start Googling these all the terms, you will be seeing them repeatedly again and again, and slowly your time for reading newspaper will come very less. And let me tell you, these articles on India-China standoff issue, they are like repetitive articles. I mean, from the past 1 month, those articles will be appearing regarding the updates will be there. So once you clear yourself of line of actual control and the place like East Ladakh and Galwan Valley, so whenever you read next article, since you would be always already perfect with the location of the line of actual control and location of places, you can just easily skim through the entire article and just take only the important different points from what you have read in the previous article. Okay, in this way you have to reduce your time reading an article. All right, now moving on to the next thing. As I've told you, articles of this kind are repetitive in nature. Whenever some issue is happening in a big way, that may be regarding internal security, or that may be regarding, take for example COVID, and COVID articles have been running continuously in the newspapers from 2 to 3 months. So in this way, whenever you read something about COVID, whenever you start googling terms, then in the next repetitive articles, most of the articles would have been discussed previously in the previous day's paper, and only there will be 1 or 2 additional points for that. And only if you just keep in mind those important points, and if there is any important prelims facts where you can pick out, that would be enough. Now coming to this thing, China lays claim to entire Galwan Valley. So this is contentious issue. Immediately, this is the keyword where, or this is the key place where the entire conflict is going on. So today itself, just this is an important word in Galwan Valley. So Google it, where exactly Galwan Valley is, what are the borders around it, and what is the border that shares India with the Galwan Valley, or is it China only claiming Galwan Valley now or something. So just Google it, Galwan Valley, and know what are the rivers there, or if any dam projects over there, depending upon the rivers that passes through Galwan Valley, take a note of it. So coming to this important article, this mentioned about Galwan Valley, so you should Google it and learn everything about it. Again, I've told you, line of actual control. See, in these 2 articles itself, this line of actual control is being repeated 3 or 4 times. So you will be Googling that. And now in this article, there is a clear explanation. Just an article of 20 to 30 lines is clearly explaining the entire conflicting issue between India and China. So why newspaper reading is important? Because whenever you read news articles of this kind, you will exactly know what the issue is. In that way, you'll be different from a layman. Okay, Till now, suppose you don't have the habit of reading newspaper, then you may think that okay, there is some border clashes going on. They are entering into our territory and we are entering into their territory. Clashes going on, so people are dying. No, that's not the case. There will be one specific reason to that. And whenever you are able to read newspapers efficiently, you can pick out the stuff from that, and thereby your concepts also will get cleared. Now, see, once you Google through Galwan Valley and rest of the article, the important word is like, okay, what India is accusing of China. They accuse that India is unilaterally building roads, bridges, and other facilities in the Galwan Valley region. Okay, and they feel that the Galwan Valley entirely belongs to them and it lies on their side of LAC. Okay, the LAC in the western section of China-India border. So this is what they are claiming. Since they are building roads in our territory, we are not going to tolerate it. So the issue about India and Chinese soldiers confrontation lies in this key aspect, just around Galwan Valley. And that won't be clear unless and until you just Google what is Galwan Valley, what are the borders around it, what is the issue. You won't be able to understand the concepts. Now suppose UPSC ask, in suppose take for example, they ask a question on these border issues and they ask to explain what are the amicable solutions to solve out the issue of India-China border tensions. And unless and until you are thorough with the issue that too mentioned in the newspaper, you won't be able to write answers. And that's it. Once you have read these 4 to 5 lines, next time when some articles appear in the newspaper, you don't have to read this again and again because you've already got that. And now suppose there is any other important point mentioned in the next updates, then he's just remembering that important point and just adding that important point to your notes will be enough. All right, so these are the important lines. Now coming to making new claim, area as the site of clash, these are like general terms. And now look out for any important rivers mentioned. They are mentioned about Shok rivers. So immediately Google where this Shok river lies. It is the tributary of Indus river. So where exactly Indus passes and where exactly Shok joins Indus, and what is the relation between Galwan river and Shok river. So this is how you should go through your maps. All right, hope this is clear. Now again, moving on to the next article. See, what's the heading? Scindia Digvijay post easy rocks Rajya Sabha poll victories. Now coming to personalities, UPSC stopped asking personalities like who is the MLA or who is the MP of so and so constituency. They stopped asking that. So after reading this entire article, I have told you previously, if there is any political issue kind of thing, you can just straight away skip it. Okay. They are here telling that some people got elected to Rajya Sabha. Okay, fine. And the process of elections to Rajya Sabha, if given in this article, that becomes very important. But they have not given any particular process of election. So straight away, you can just skip it. All right. Now we'll move on to the other articles. And as I've told you, deliberately I've added one sticky note. See, virus tracker. From last 2 months, every day, one or the other update will be regarding coronavirus or COVID-19. So previously, whenever you start reading newspaper, or at least from today, whenever you start reading newspaper, learn something about coronavirus or what exactly the features of coronavirus and where does it affect exactly in the body, what is the mechanism by which its RNA multiplies, okay, and everything will be coming there. So once you know all about those basics, so whenever some kind of article comes in newspaper, you can easily skip it. For example, they are surely mentioning about the statistics over here, which is of least important because UPSC is not going to ask you how many number of corona deaths have happened or how many corona infections are there in the country. No, they're not going to ask you. And this clarity you'll get only when you look out for previous papers. That's why I stress you to look out for previous papers, because whenever you see previous papers, you will learn yourself what to skip and what not to skip. And suppose once for all you have read thoroughly about coronavirus, then any article comes in newspaper, just see is there is anything new dimension for it. No, this particularly representing about the number of statistics. So I mentioned like continuation of articles. So whenever the articles continues, I mean, take the case of India-China standoff or the coronavirus, every day or the other, the articles will be keeping on coming. So when see only if there is any new point to it and just add that to your notes. Otherwise, just skip it directly. Now coming to next news item here. 24 PU students to be in home quarantine. This again you can straight away by just seeing the heading, you can straight away know that okay, this is not the issue for us for exam, so I can straight away skip it. All right. Now same again, fuel price hits finances of artists. Again skip it. Why? Because there in this article you just see whenever you read newspaper, don't deeply read word by word. Just skim through the entire lines at once, so that your reading also improves. So this skimming through the lines like this will develop even the habit of fast reading as well. So this is of new use for you because they didn't explain any mechanism regarding fuel price. Suppose if the same article is mentioned in international column, they would have mentioning about OPSC countries or why suddenly there is a drop in oil price in the entire world and all. So if specifically with respect to oil price protection global, if there is news item, then you can follow this. But this is nothing relevant for exam, so just skip it. Now again, moving on to this thing. Only 35 of some patients need ventilators. Again, this is a reporting question. Always I tell you, whether it may be political questions or with respect to issue questions, if they are just reporting, you can straight away skip them. Okay. Now move to next article. 8 militants killed in 2 gunfights in Jammu and Kashmir. Most of the time, 70% you can have the clarity by reading the heading itself. Like they are not speaking about some particular area. They are speaking generally in Jammu about Jammu and Kashmir, and not like in particular border sector or army cap or something. So these type of general reporting, you don't have to pay that much attention. Okay. So even after going through the articles, I could find only some of the importance. Like if they are mentioning about some important places, like take for the example Baramulla here. See where the location is, because we have this border issue between India as well as Pakistan. So if they are mentioned any some border places, just keep a note of it, so that whenever there is any kind of confrontation again between the countries, they will be mostly related to same these border places. So suppose you see in the news item place called Baramulla, it should immediately strike your mind that okay, this is a kind of border place between India and Pakistan, and this will be often in news. So you have to have an idea of that. All right. Now we'll move on to the next page. As I've told you, first page is all about main important headlines. So you should be careful while reading first page. Now coming to second page, it's like general regional paper. Since directly mentioned, they'll be speaking about issues around in and around Bangalore or any new policy by the government. So if you are preparing for KPSC even, then just take a note of if the government has come up with any important policy, or else is this just reporting. If this is just reporting like the previous news items, you can straight away skip it. Now, the crisis for senior actors, again, is not important for your exam. Politics and movies, you can straight away skip it. Now, Advocates Association rises, that's also not important, where you won't get even important fodder points. Okay, now, girls' friends try to blackmail doctor. This is again reporting of some unnecessary accident or some important issue. So, you see if this point has some relevance with your syllabus. If not, just straight away skip it. Now, phone in program by government. Okay, so this is not like related to your syllabus. Always look out for keywords from the headlines of the news item itself, so that if you find a straight keyword from your syllabus, then you should pay attention to. All right. Now moving on to this one. Garbage vehicles being fitted with GPS trackers. And this is one kind of articles I'll tell you. Some of the articles straight away by seeing the syllabus, you can straight away put them under your syllabus. Okay, by straight away seeing that heading in the news, you can classify yourself, okay, this news falls under which part of my syllabus. But articles like this, especially there is this keyword solid waste management. So you have particular syllabus point in your third paper, that is economic development and environment paper, where you have one subtopic syllabus on solid waste management. So whenever you read these kind of articles, just take out the fodder points from that. So suppose take for example this article. So this is speaking about fitting of GPS trackers for sewage garbage carrying vehicles. So just see if you find an interesting point. So that can be a valuable addition to your mains answers, not for prelims. All right. So now they told like install RFID chips on vehicles. So look out for these important keywords where you can write in your mains answers. Take for example, if they ask the question like to manage the sewage, urban sewage more efficiently, what are the steps needed to be taken? So you can speak about this GPS tracking of vehicles, and then you can speak about install RFID chips on vehicles. So these are the points where you can put in your mains answers writing. Okay, these kind of points, whenever you read newspaper, just highlight them, or just don't need to separate notebook or separate make online notes for mains points, only for mains points, not for prelims points. Okay, these important points, you just keep a note of it. So whenever after some 10 days or 15 days, again, there is an article or solid waste management in your city, or they are telling like however the garbage vehicles have been moved in Bangalore. So if you find any more interesting extra point, you can just add to these 2 points. All right. Hope I'm clear. I'll move on to the next one. Now 5 held for murder of MD of steel firm. Again, the crimes and the issues, crime reporting and all, you can straight away neglect that unless and until it is attached to some important place. All right, so you can straight away neglect this. And next one, when motorcycles are mixed with yoga, again this is not important for your exam. Okay, tribute to martyrs. You see if this is really important to your exam. See line of actual control, again this thing is in news. Okay, so if you have read this line of actual control previously, when you read previous article, then you have much more clarity about why people are protesting. Now we'll move on to the next one. Rest this left side column, you can just silently ignore it. Now STP and sewage network projects at KC Valley delayed. Anyway, first after seeing the heading, step 1, see if it is under your syllabus. No, you don't find any straight relevance. Now see whether you can have some points so that you can add value to your main answers. No, even you can't do that, then just straight away skip it. Now coming to article, fuel price hike hits finances of road transport corporations. Again, this is a general kind of reporting, so you can straight away skip it. First, step 1, see the heading, whether it has some relevance to your syllabus. No. Then step 2, see if you can get any 1 or 2 important lines so that you can add those lines in the main answer writing. If no, then straight away move on to the next article. Again, 2.38 lakh fine collected. These are, again, see the first heading, step 1, whether it falls under your syllabus. No. Then can you get some important lines for your mains? No. Then skip it. Now move on to next one. Laborers board wrong train end up in UP instead of MP. So they were boarding a train, and instead of going to one place, they went to another place. Again, you can just straight away skip it because UPSC is not going to ask the trains or something like that. Okay. Now move on to next article. Don't increase fees this year. Government tells private unaided schools. Again, this is like general government reporting. This thing don't have any relevance in your syllabus, so just straight away skip it. That's what I told. Only 2 steps. First thing, read the heading of the news item and see if there are any keywords that find the same mention in your syllabus. No, then move on to second step. Whether it overall it falls under any part of your main syllabus, and will you get any 1 or 2 important lines. If no, then straight away move on to next article. Then only 35 out of these patients need ventilator so far. Again, it is like general reporting. As I've told you, 20 to 30% of the paper will be reporting, and that too it's like continuation of articles. There will be much nothing about it. So just straight away skip it. Now, standard operating procedures for care centers. So this is the keyword I was mentioning about. They are mentioning about they are not mentioning about number of care centers what we have. Like in this case, how many members are there in the care centers, or how many of them have asymptomatic or symptomatic symptoms. No, they are not speaking about that. All they are telling is about standard operating procedure for care centers. So in your syllabus, see straight away this does not come under the syllabus. So step 1 gone. And step 2, will you find any further points for a main answers? Since this is like mentioned about standard operating procedures in your paper of disaster management, see if it has some relevance. And now when you move to the article, I got this beautiful 10 lines. Okay, so regarding how the corona patients are treated now. So this comes under part of the treatment in the disaster management. So these kind of lines are very much important, especially for your prelims as well as mains. Now what this article is talking about, first thing is rapid assessment of positive patients. They are doing that. Okay, so as a part of it, they are recording body temperature. Then this is very much important. I wanted to stress on this. Normally everybody know, because since when you go outside, they will be checking your temperature with the help of thermal scanners. But important aspect, this kind of stuff you'll get only from newspapers. Well, first thing they'll be checking about your body temperature. Next, oxygen saturation level. Okay, they'll see to that how much your oxygen carrying capacity of your body is. Okay, and if there are any comorbidities such as hypertension, diabetes, TB, HIV, cancer, stroke, and pregnancy. So if UPSC wants to make the options tricky, then they will ask you which of the following are comorbidities treated under COVID-19. Then you may get confusion while taking the case of pregnancy. Will pregnancy be treated as comorbidity along with COVID-19 or not? So reading these kind of articles will give you some clarity. And now moving. So these are the criteria what they will check whenever some COVID-19 patient admits. First thing, body temperature. Next, oxygen saturation level and comorbidities. Okay, and now again they have given in clear. If a person has a body temperature above 37.5 degrees Celsius. All right, so they'll be just checking this. If that is what they'll be looking at even in thermal scanners is this thing, whether your body temperature is more than this standard. And then oxygen saturation level, is it below 94%? So if it is above 95%, then it's fine. But if it is below 94%, then you may need extra oxygen support. So this is one more criteria. And if the person is aged above 60 years. Why? Because comorbidities will be present in the persons who age 60 years or more. So these are 3 criteria initially they mention, and these are the procedures what they follow. So when you know these 4 points clearly, then your quality of answers will be different from those who just write answers in a cosmetic touch, where you will be speaking. Most of them, they won't know about this oxygen saturation level, or even if they know, they won't know about these particulars. Like they'll be looking for temperatures of 37.5 degrees or saturation level below 94 degrees. I'll leave about everybody. Even you yourself will be going outside, and they'll be just checking your body temperature using that thermal scanners. But till till today, even you won't be having any idea about what the particular degree of the temperature they are looking out for, and this is the standard one. So these are important 4 to 5 lines where if you add them in your answers, that will make value. Okay, in this way your answers will be different from others. All right, hope I was clear with that. And now we'll move on to the next article. Chief Minister shifts official meetings to Vidhan Saudha. No, this is not important. First thing, this is not under your any part of the syllabus, and even this kind of reporting will not have any relevance for your mains paper. So just skip it. Now, police battle invisible enemy with more precautionary measures. So in general, they are speaking about the COVID-19 relief measures or COVID-19 things done by police. So it's kind of normal general reporting where straight away you can skip it. Simple. This is the way of reading newspaper. First thing, again, see the heading. If it has any keywords as in your syllabus, no. Then step 2. Once skim through the lines of all articles quickly, and there are any keywords so that would be useful for your mains, then take a note of it, or else just straight away skip it. Like this, you can read the entire newspaper within no time, provided you would also be covering the important exam points. Now again, 1.2 lakh lockdown violations reported since March 23 government. First thing, this is not directly keywords from your syllabus. And next, no, this is like general reporting where you can straight away skip it. And if you feel like there may be some lines like as we have seen in previous article like standard operating procedures, just fastly go through the article once, or not. If not, then just skip it. All right. Now, MTB is said to be one of the richest legislatures. Again, UPSC is not going to ask about personalities. Straight away skip it. See, like this, in this gap of just 15-20 minutes, you have already read your 5 pages of the newspaper. Okay. Now, this is very, very much important. I want all of you to take important note of it. Editorial. Okay. Very, very important for mains and prelims bits and even essay. Why? Because in this editorial paper, if you see the outlook of the paper, this is main the gross abuse of Manipur mandate. So this personality like Pradeep, somebody, he's talking about the issue over there. Okay, and rest in every editorial paper, you'll be having 2 articles on your left side. They'll also be speaking about some socio-economic issues. So this is very, very much important paper. Why? Because the articles which have been spoken by important personalities, their views forms important for your essay paper, as well as these socio-economic issues articles will be important for your mains papers. Not only this, in this they will be giving you important hints for prelims. Okay, there will be important lines in your prelim syllabus which will be inserted in between the articles. So don't anytime skip the editorial paper. First thing, look out for the keywords in the headings. A never-ending tale of defections. Okay, this is important keyword in your polity. So what is defection? Keywords parts. These keywords falls under polity, or at least whenever you read the entire article, see the heading of that and see whether it falls under polity, geography, economy, or social issues or international relations. Coming to this case, it is falling under polity. So they are mentioning about defections. So look out for what is meant by defection. And again, go for this kind of, not like UPSC will be asking how many members are there, but whenever you read newspaper, so there are like Manipur, he's speaking about Manipur. Okay, Manipur has 59 member assembly. So you'll get a rough idea whenever you are reading some news item about Manipur. All right. So number of assembly seats like it's 59. Now, coming to the case of disqualification, these are the important lines for your prelims. Okay, speaker has to rule on the disqualifications. This is very, very important. Previous question even. And let me remind you, in the past 15 years, UPSC would have asked this question 5 to 10 times. Like, who has the power to disqualify an MLA? 1, High Court. 2, Chief Minister. 3rd, Speaker. And 4th, Governor. So these are the kind of options they give. So whenever you read this kind of article and see here, Speaker has yet to rule on the disqualification. So Speaker is the ultimate authority to make anyone disqualified. These are the important lines which you should search for in newspaper, not the general like Trinamool Congress, this political thing, you don't have to look at it. Speaker has yet to rule on the disqualification. So by this way, it is conveyed that Speaker has only the authority. Now see the important articles again mentioned. Now when you start reading this article, it will be known that if the role of Speaker who has the authority to decide upon defection has been utilized by the ruling parties. Okay, so it even clearly mentioned about the role of the Speaker who has the only authority to disqualify members and throws upon what is the issue happening, presently happening. It speak about the law of defection and all. Okay, so that's how it will extract points. Now crisis in the peninsula. Clearly this forms very, very important for your geography, world geography, as well as for your international relations. Now this kind of like any issue has been mentioned with respect to any geographical area, that forms important for your world geography questions or international relations. Now see the heading, US should not give up efforts bringing the Korean talks back on track. So whenever you are reading some news item regarding international relations, first give utmost importance if any of the country involved in that article is a immediate neighbor of India. Okay, or if that is not immediate neighbor of India, if India has some specific relation with that. Okay, if not, then just try to understand the nature of the article in a overall manner, not like in a specific deep manner. Now it is speaking about the issues between US and North Korea. So just see historically any place is mentioned or any war is mentioned or any treaty is mentioned. Whenever you read IR articles, look out for treaty if that is there between two countries, and if there is any confrontation between those two countries in terms of geographical areas, like they have any disputes with respect to islands, rivers, or any parks. So just take a note of it. Now in this entire article, these are the important lines. Okay, no hopes of quick resolution to US North Korea rivalry. It goes back to 1950 to 53 Korean War. This is very, very much important. That's what I told you. Whenever you read some article on international relations or about some differences between the countries, see for what was the basis of that difference, whether it was any war or whether it was any river or whether it was any geographical area. And this article is taking this 1950 to 53 Korean War into picture. So immediately Google what is Korean War, when did it happen, and what is the role of US in it, so that whenever, and these kind of articles will be repeating like once in a week or once in 10 days, they'll be repeating continuously. So whenever, suppose today you just finish off seeing about Korean War and what is the US role in it, so whenever you read the article, same article speaking on the next dimensions, then again it won't be a tough task for you because you would have already seen about Korean War, and you just have to see if you got any new points in that article. All right, now mark out for the keywords. The keywords over here is like denuclearization in return for the lifting of American sanctions. So what does denuclearization exactly mean? Or irreversible denuclearization, what does that mean? And look out for important keywords always in an article. Here it is, Iran nuclear deal. This one of the important keyword here. So immediately Google what is Iran nuclear deal. All right. So always, whenever you read newspaper, looking for the keywords. Step 1, see the heading. Is it directly from syllabus? Step 2, if not directly from syllabus, is it related to mains? Step 3, step 3, look out for keywords in the entire article, whether they are mentioning about some place or some treaty or some war, okay, or some battle. So these are the keywords. And now if you just know about these keywords, then you can wipe off this entire article. All right. Now in any newspaper, this letters to editor is like you don't have to worry much about this letters to editor. You can straight away skip it and you can just save your time. All right. Now coming to important article, the gross abuse of Manipur mandate. Now always whenever you read editorial paper, after reading this main heading, immediately there will be a line speaking specific to the issue. So the politics in state is a fine example of law being made a subordinate function of power. Again, this is talking about Indian polity, so this is very much important for your exam. And whenever you read article, mark out for important keywords under polity, whether that keywords will be helpful for your prelims or not, or do you have any further points for your mains preparation. Okay, now if you look out the entire keywords, this thing. In the previous article, you have learned about defections, and this article is also about Manipur, and that too the same defection. See, this is the advantage. Suppose when you read this article, you would have read about what is meant by defection, then how many members in Manipur, and the speaker has to give rule on disqualification. So how speaker does that, and once you read these things, then it will be easy to understand again these articles. Okay, this is speaking like this. Endemic had a defection become, that is a law. So whatever we were speaking about in previous article regarding defection, that is a law which was introduced in 1995 by 52nd Amendment of the Constitution. This is again the previous question of UPSC. So this is how you have to extract important points from your newspaper. Immediately you have to take your polity book and see what exactly is in 10th schedule. Then what is this 52nd Amendment of the Constitution? Because these things will be mentioned in your backside of your Lakshmikant polity book. Again, so in continuation amendment to this, they have introduced one more amendment, that is 91st Amendment of the Constitution in 2003. Again, go back to polity book and see what does this amendment mean. So to make questions trickier, they'll be giving these two amendments, and UPSC will be asking the question like this. So which of the following amendments related to the law of defection? Option 1, 52nd Constitutional Amendment. Option 2, 91st Amendment of the Constitution. Either A is correct, B is correct, or both is correct, or none of the above. So unless and until, say, everybody who reads polity very well, they will be very sure of 52nd Amendment. But 91st amendment, there will be hell lot of amendments and you can just mug up all of these things. So whenever you read newspaper, the advantage is that whenever they speak of any single issue, they will cover all these multiple dimensions under the issue. Okay, got it? So 52nd amendment everybody will know, but 91st amendment most of them won't by heart it. Okay, in this way from newspaper they can just give the questions, and reading newspapers thoroughly in this way will make sure that you answer all the questions correctly. In this way, next important 10th schedule. So there are some X number of schedules in the constitution. So this is a keyword 10th schedule. Again, go back to polity Lakshmikant book and see what is 10th schedule mean. Rest all of this thing is again uh, political nature stuff. Now moving on to the next thing. The Supreme Court directed the speaker to dispose of the case at the soonest but after the election. So there is one small gimmick here in polity book, even you will know that. See, speaker has the authority to declare the members as disqualified, but they didn't mention in time frame for the speaker to do that. So Supreme Court, all it can do is just ask the speaker to finish the process fast, but it can't put his wings on or put his brings on the speaker and ask the speaker to finish off the case in a particular date. No, even the constitution hasn't mentioned that. And these kind of important stuff you'll get only from newspapers, because in Lakshmikant also there will be in some corner one line would be mentioned like there is no time frame designed for speaker to decide on the issue of disqualification. Okay, that you may neglect when you are reading thousands of pages. But when you read the entire news article in this way, then in the issue of disqualification itself, see how many important points you got. One is regarding what is meant by defection, then when was it introduced, what are the amendments under defection, then who has the authority to decide that, and does Supreme Court has the power to direct speaker to do that in a specific time and all. So these are the important points which develops your conceptual clarity as well as adds dimensions to your answers, as well as there will be important points for a prelims preparation as well. So this is how you should read a newspaper article. And rest of like BJP, NPP, MLA, these are normal political issues where you don't have to stress much upon that. Hope this article is very clear, because I have deliberately highlighted the keywords, because this is how we should read a newspaper and look out for keywords. All right, I'll move on to the next article. In a new lockdown, a second chance for Tamil Nadu. Again, these terms are never mentioned in your syllabus directly. And again, if they help you in getting some important points for your prelims or mains, even if not that, then look out for an important keywords, which I didn't find much. And again, as I told you, see, in today's paper itself, how many times you have found about lockdown issues, then corona issues, number of cases, standard operating procedures, and these are the important articles which will be repeated very frequently, as well as it will be easy for you to skip off them, because all you need to be looking is whether are there any important different keywords from here. And now, as I've told you, why I have added sticky notes, because again, continuation of the articles, focus on any new fodder points whenever you read any continuation of articles. See if you have any new points where you can filter out any new points from that or not. All right, hope that is clear. Now we'll move on to the next article. Again, testing the limits of the capital. This is again a reporting, general reporting. So what is now this important heading, first heading? So look out for the keywords, whether are there any terms